everybody, in this video we're going to be going over more advanced ways to do selection statements in Python 3. So, in the last video we learned about the if and the else statement, and the if and the else statement allow you to do selections based on certain things. So if I create a variable called var, which is short for variable, and make it equal to 23, I can say if var is greater than 20, I'm going to print wow, and then else I'm going to print snow day because I have a snow day right now, and that's why I'm making this video. So we learned about this basically where if I have either of these, if I have, if I can make an if statement and I can check if it's greater than, I can check if it's less than, I can check if it's not equal to, just like I talked about in the other video, but also I want to talk about other ways to do things. So let's say I had more than just two conditions. I wanted to check if the var was greater than 20, I wanted to check if it was greater than 40, I wanted to check if it was greater than 30. Well, the way we would do this, instead of just having an if-else clause, there's a way to add more selections. And the way you would do that is with something called an elif clause, pronounced E-L-I-F. And so I can check if var is less than 0, and then I do the same thing like an if statement. This number is low. So what's happening here is basically I did the same thing as my if statement right here on line 10, except I added an EL before the IF. And what that is saying, it's called an else if. So an else if adds the capability of being able to add another statement to your if else block. And by block I mean everything here. This is all one block. All this is together because as I'll show you when I run this, only one of these statements, and by statements I mean this if, this else if, and this else, only one of these statements activates. Only one of them gets printed out. And so var was greater than 20, and so it printed out. And if I make it -4, once one of these prints out, the code goes down, it keeps going down to whatever. It goes down to line 15, or it keeps progressing throughout whatever the code you did. So the else if allows me to add more conditions, more checks for different cases if I need more different cases. For instance, maybe you want to make a program that asks someone for a number from 1 through 10, and depending on whichever number they entered, you want to do something completely different. You would use an else if to check if it's 1, 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so yeah, you would use an else if. An else if works exactly like an if statement, except you need the EL in it. You still need the semicolon, and you still need the space. You still need the tab or the 4 spaces to indicate that this print statement is part of this elif block. If it was here, that would be an error. And see, it's giving me a little error right there. And so that's pretty cool. The else if allows you to have a lot of capabilities. And something you can also do with your selection statements to add more power to them is you can put more conditions in one selection statement. So take my if statement here, and let's say I want to check if the var is less than 20 and the var is less than 30. The way I would do that is I would put an and statement. And so the way the and statement works is it checks if both of these statements are true. So now what I'm going to do is I'm checking 2 booleans, 2 true or false values, and I'm going to see if both of them are true. And if not, if something, it's just like you think every day, if it's snowing and it's raining, I'm not going to go outside, which is crazy if that's happening. You're probably not having a good day, or if it's sunny and it's not raining, then I'm going to go outside. So you need both conditions to be true for an and statement, for something in an and statement to go on. So for instance, I'm going to check if the var is greater than 20 and the var is less than 30. So my variable must be in between 21 through 29 inclusive, so including 21 and 29. So if I run 30 and run this program, snow day was printed out because my variable, it was greater than 20, but it was not less than 30. It was equal to 30. So if I make it 25, my statement executed because it was greater than 20 and it was less than 30. Also, something you can do is there's the or clause. Now, or is different than and in that only one of these statements need to be true, just like the word implies. So you can have this or that. You're happy with either one. So like if it's Friday, I'm going to go party. Or if it's Saturday, I'm going to go party. You're okay whichever day it is. It's just like this. If it's greater than 20, so if it's 100, so I'll make this variable 100. If it's 100, if it's greater than 20 or it's less than 30, I'm okay. So my variable is greater than 20, so this print statement is going to execute. It's going to be true. It doesn't care about the other if statements because I already know one of them is true. So that's pretty nice. So we learned about the if and the or, and I also want to show you guys that you can put these together. I can say and var is let's do equal to 40, and I'll run this program. But what is happening here is that it's just checking if var is greater than 20, and then it's executing. Sorry guys, I just took a quick break there. One thing I wanted to say is that these operators, the or and the and operators, have precedence. And by precedence, I mean one is always executed before the other. So in this case, in Python, the or statement has precedence over the and statement. So when you're looking at these equations, like this complicated one right here, the or statement gets executed first. So what's going to happen here? It's going to check var is less than 20 or var is greater than 30. It's going to do this first, and what it's going to do is it's going to make that a Boolean. So is var greater than 30? Yes. So what's this do? It's going to make this whole statement and it's going to make it a true. You kind of can substitute a true in there, which is something we'll learn about here. So it's going to say true, and then I can I minimize that statement to a true, and I'm going to check if var is equal to 40, and it is. So I first evaluate the or statements, and then I evaluate the and statements. So that's the way it's going to work. So this will print out wow, which is pretty cool. And I just want to note I can do the same thing with my LF statements. I can add if var is less than or equal to whatever, 23. And everything will be good there. And obviously this statement will never ever print out because var will never be less than 0 and var will never be greater than 23. That's just numerically impossible, but it's a way you can set up things in the statements, and it's just a way of thinking of a way how things get translated, and the ability to remember that ors take precedence over and, so you always evaluate the or statements right next to each other, minimize them, and then evaluate the and statements right afterwards so you can see them. Well guys, I hope you guys had a great day, and I hope you enjoy everything.